As a mother of two boys, I can say life is always interesting when my boys are around, and it's clear that boys process things very differently than girls do. Well, Dr. Gregory Jantz, one of the authors of this new book, Raising Boys by Design, joins us today to talk about what the Bible and brain science reveal about what our boys need to thrive and flourish as they grow into adulthood. And I must say, this is a must-read for parents of boys. Welcome, Dr. Jantz.
Oh, good to be with you.
I
Yes,
have so many questions. Boys.
Yes. Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready? So tell me, why did you write this? You wrote it with Michael Gurian.
You know what? I have two boys.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that our boys are in trouble. As we look at the lives of boys, and we're seeing boys fail in school. You know, the majority of D's and F's go to boys. Discipline problems go to, or majority are boys. And so I'm passionate about what do we do to help boys? And so I teamed up with the brain expert, Michael Gurian, and I said, look, let's find a way to show parents and teachers how to change the direction for boys.
Now, you also talk about, you had some challenges when you were younger.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the self-confession. Yes, I did. And I think most boys do growing up. And today with technology, with the internet, there's a new layer of challenges with boys.
And I think as parents of boys, we tend to wonder, like, why do they do this and why do they do that? And sometimes we blame ourselves. We wonder, what did I do wrong? But what you show is that boys think differently. They literally think differently than girls do. Their brains are different.
They are, and you know that, don't you? Because you got boys.
Yes.
Yes.
So
sometimes we can get really frustrated and we'll feel like, what is wrong with my boy?
Yeah.
And that frustration can turn to anger, and we need to be careful about that.
Yeah. So one thing that you show is that boys have 7 times more gray matter in their brains than girls do. Girls tend to have more white matter.
Yes.
And that means that boys are linear. They focus in on things.
Right.
And sometimes I wonder when I'm talking to my boys, why aren't they listening to me? And it's not that they're trying to be rude, it's they're focused.
They are, and sometimes it's really frustrating. And have you ever noticed if you have something really important to tell your boy, and you say, sit down, look at me, we're gonna have a conversation here, and you're talking away, and then you ask the boy, you go, did you hear what I said? And the boy goes, uh-huh. What did I just tell you? I don't know. I mean, that's the way the boy brain works.
Yeah.
There's better ways to approach that.
So what are those better ways?
Well, if you have something really important to talk to your boy about, go for a walk, grab a ball. Boys need what we call a mediating object. So Michael and I talk about in the book, if you have something you want to talk to your son about, toss a ball back and forth. Break it up. They need something in their hands. And if you'll change the environment, you'll be surprised how far you can go in that communication.
That's so true. I can think of rides, you know, driving to school, and that's when I hear my oldest especially will talk more, and you know, we're both focused on something else. We're not eye to eye, and so the pressure is off almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you also talk about the importance of a mother's role with raising boys as opposed to a father's role, and this is kind of interesting because for so long we've heard how important it is for boys to have a male role model, which is very true.
Yes.
But there's an importance in having that female role model in their lives
You
as
know,
well.
boys learn things from their mom differently than they will from their father. They may learn more about empathy from a mom. They'll learn more about probably emotions, emotion regulation. You know, a mom's going to handle things differently with a boy than a dad. I'm reminded of seeing a scene where my youngest boy, he was playing football. And, you know, there's a boy that's not getting up out on the field. You know, and the dad's standing on the sidelines, and he's going to get up. He's okay. And the mom's running down from the stadium. Is my boy okay?
My baby.
Right. And we're going to respond to things differently. Boys need both.
So when a mother is looking at a situation, so she should just not harden herself or feel like she has to change, but you're saying embrace that and show that empathy and show that part of
Yeah, absolutely.
a part of you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we need both.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you talk about how boys want to be heroes.
Yes.
Which I find interesting. And that's, you know, this fascination that boys tend to have with superheroes and video games. There's that connection there.
Yes, no matter the age, whether it's 5 years old or you've got a preteen or you've got the 16-year-old and you got a teenager in the house.
Yeah.
Boys are still looking for what to identify with and who. And that's why early on, you know, the kid will wear the cape and he's the superhero flying around the house. It starts very young. And that's a part of who a boy is. They're going to identify. Now, our culture doesn't always give them the great role models to identify with. We need to really help our boys with that. What's a healthy role model? What's a healthy hero? But boys are going to migrate towards imitating, looking up towards something. It's part of their design.
And so you have kind of a word for
Sure.
each of them. So H stands for honor. Explain that.
Sure. We need to teach our boys about honor. Now, our society doesn't do a very good job with this. Honor, part of the definition is to respect. A boy that's taught respect, and they learn early on the respect with girls, how to treat a girl. It starts there. Yeah, and our society actually with boys, you know, the early exposure to pornography, now it's about age 10. And so boys, and with technology, there's a lot of things taking boys away from this idea of honor and respect. So we need to step in and change that direction.
E is for enterprise.
Oh, boys are enterprising. Have you noticed that? They're either taking something apart
Yeah.
or they're building something. I came home not too long ago and we had a scooter and it was all apart in the garage. And my oldest son was saying, well, yeah, I know it was a scooter, but I'm making a go-kart now. But you know, there's 500 pieces. So they're going to enterprise. Now, the balance is, you know, be careful about how much they're taking
Yes,
apart.
what they're
But don't be
enterprising.
surprised about it. My oldest boy, he had a dream about having a business when he was 11 years old. And he began to do some things very early on that were very enterprising. And today he has a business and he actually hires college guys to run his business while he's in high school.
Wow.
So
And how old is he?
he's 16.
16.
So we see these things early on. And our boys, now you have 2 boys, I have 2 boys, and we notice the personalities are really different.
yes.
Yeah. They're going to be really different.
And it's celebrating that
Oh, it
as
is.
well.
Yes.
Yeah.
My youngest one, he is the comedian, he's the singer, dancer, and their personalities are so different. God has planted in them these different personalities. But teaching honor, teaching respect, teaching enterprising, those are things that all boys need.
Yeah. R is for responsibility.
Yes. Well, responsibility, there's a lot to say about this. It starts with self-responsibility. We need to teach our young men how to self-regulate. And by that, we live in a one-click society, a society of everything is instant. And we have the internet and the whole thing of self-respect, how to manage technology. This is a huge one for boys. Boys are going to look for anything that's stimulating and intense. Well, technology, internet, video games, supply all that. But we know the overuse of those things teaches them not to regulate themselves.
Right.
So there's a lot we're saying about this, Michael and I.
Yeah. And you also, one thing that I appreciated when you talked about responsibility is as we give our children responsibility, all of a sudden they're going to want to do things on their own. They're going to take the initiative and do these things without you even asking them because they've taken on that responsibility. This is my job. This is my role.
Yes. And they need to have that.
Yeah.
See, a sense of responsibility is a sense of emotional intelligence. And our boys are going to develop emotionally different than girls and at a different pace. I'm sorry, it's just the way we're made.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You don't have to apologize. This is all good insight.
And here's the thing. Our brain is still growing and developing till about age 25.
Wow.
So it's going to take a little while.
Yeah. And originality is the last one.
Yes. Boys are designed to feel that they are special and that they have a special calling. Each of our sons do. And part of what we want to do is we want to impart in them that special calling. And one of the things that I've done since very early on is I let my boys know that I believe in them. I believe in you. Those are some powerful words, but I believe in you says that I know you have a special calling, and it's a God calling. And yes, you're going to have tough days, and there's a lot to learn as you go through school and all this developmentally, but you have a special calling. I believe in you. And to really back that up, I remember it was a snowy day, and my youngest boy, I usually kiss him on the head and bless him for the day. Giving your sons the blessing is so important. But my little guy, I'm pulling out of the driveway, my little guy comes running out of the house in the snow, barefoot, in his pajamas, and he pounds on my window and he says, "Dad, I believe in you."
Oh.
And I'm going, "You're in your pajamas, it's freezing cold, it's snowing." But something in him was ready to give that away. And he understood the importance.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, this book, you know, it's called Raising Boys by Design, but this gave me so much insight into my husband as well.
Oh, sure, yes. Well, let's talk about your husband.
That's a whole other show. But I think that's exactly it. Men as well want to hear that you believe in them. This translates from boyhood into adulthood.
It does.
And it shows just the role, especially as women, that I have in just believing in my sons, but also believing in my husband as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You got it.
One other thing that I want to touch on, we only have a few minutes left, is emotions.
Okay.
Because that's something that, you know, I always wonder, why are boys that open about sharing? And that's also a brain issue and how they're developed as well. But how can we get the emotions out of our child and make them feel safe to explore that?
Sure. For most boys, it takes a little more time to put feelings into words. So you say to your son, what's going on? Tell me. And he's going, I don't know. Okay, that's normal. But allowing our sons time, my sons play sports, and I was with my oldest son not long ago, and it was after a football game, and we're driving home. He's so quiet. And I made a few mistakes. I was pushing him to, what's going on? And he wasn't talking. But you know what? 20 minutes later, allowing him time to process. And so be careful about that. Boys need time to process their emotions. And sometimes we're wanting to push on that a little too much. Give them the time.
Let them walk away, maybe. Take a break.
Take a break. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jantz.
Oh, there's so much to say.
Oh, there is.
About our
I have
boys.
tons more questions,
Yes.
but we're out of time. Raising Boys by Design, what the Bible and brain science reveal about what your son needs to thrive. This is a must get. You need to get this book if you have sons. Thanks again.
Oh, great to be with you.